The year's first solar eclipse on June 10th. That's what we'll talk about today. Hello everybody, I'm Tina Chari. Welcome to my channel and a very warm namaste. On June 10th, there's going to be a partial solar eclipse that is not going to be visible in most parts of the world. It's only going to be visible in Russia, Canada, Siberia, North Canada, in most remote parts of the world where it's very hard to reach and a lot of people won't be able to see it. So a lot of people ask me, well, if it's not visible where in my local area, does it impact me? Well, it does impact everybody because it's a cosmic event. It involves the whole earth. So regardless of where you are and if it's visible in your area or not, a lunar or a solar eclipse does impact us. Also, we have to take into consideration the planets that are involved in the solar eclipse, and if you're having a dasha, antardasha, mahadasha of those planets, then it will impact you a little more. So let's take a look at all the planets that are involved in this solar eclipse. Well, obviously it's a solar eclipse, so the sun is involved, and the eclipse is caused by Rahu in the house of Taurus. So sun and Rahu are involved. The nakshatra that's involved in this, or nakshatra that the eclipse is happening in, is Mrigshira. So, and Mrigshira is ruled by Mars. So Mars definitely has a say in it. And who else is sitting very close to Sun? It's a retrograde Mercury. So we have a whole collection of planets that have something to do with this eclipse, that are involved in some way or the other in this eclipse. And if you're having any dasha, antardasha of these planets, which would be the sun, the moon, Mars, and Mercury, Rahu of course, then it will have some impact on you. It depends on the placement of these planets in your own personal birth charts. It could impact you in a positive or not so positive way. Let's take a look at all these planets and the impact that they will have on most of us. So the first thing I always consider when I make any kind of prediction is to look at the nakshatra that this event is happening in. So I mentioned previously that the nakshatra that the eclipse was occurring in is Mrigshira, and Mrigshira is ruled by Mars. But what does Mrigshira represent? So Mrig means in the Sanskrit or Hindi word, Mrig means deer and Shira means the head. So nakshatra Mrigshira is represented by the head of the deer. And so what does the deer represent? The best explanation that I can give you is when we all have, it's a saying that's called deer in the headlights, the moment. So the deer in the headlights moment is when you're driving, people in the US would identify with this. When you're driving on a dark country road and there's deer in that area, all of a sudden on a road, when the deer is running across the road and it realizes that there's a car, it freezes and it just stares at you, and that's the deer in the headlights, because the car headlights and the deer stares. It's frozen for a minute because the deer doesn't know what to do. It doesn't know that it's going to get hit by a car, so it's frozen. That's the deer in the headlights moment. The minute after a few seconds the deer realizes that it's frozen, it needs to move, and then it takes off at a very high speed, unless the car hits it. But that's the deer in the headlights moment. So Mrigshira, I've noticed in my career as an astrologer that the deer in the headlights moment is very applicable to the Mrigshira nakshatra. And that's what's going to happen to most of us, meaning the sun is our soul. The sun is our soul, and the sun, it's a solar eclipse. So a lot of us are going to experience this deer in the headlight moment in our lives, where all of a sudden we're going to stop and may have a realization of something, and a realization about our situation, wherever we are in our life, about something. And it could be about your love life, it could be about your relationships, because it's in the house of Taurus. So Taurus represents love life, family, and finance. So all of a sudden we're going to have a realization about something, and then boom, we're going to start taking action very fast. So to me, this is what this eclipse is going to make us all do. It's going to catch us as a deer in the headlight moment, where all of a sudden we freeze and go, oh my God, I've just realized something. And then we start to take action very fast. Now, this is exactly what we shouldn't do. So I'm cautioning everybody not to do this, because Mars, which is the ruler of Mrigshira, if you watched my previous video, is debilitated right now in Cancer. So any fast action that you take right now may not work out well for all of us. So the caution here is you may realize something very quickly about your situation, about your finances, about your relationship, and then run to take action. But you don't need to run to take action. You really need to think about what action you need to take before you just take off and take fast action. So what are some of the things that we can expect as a world to experience? So we need to look at the house of Taurus. And so Taurus is the second house, typical second house of the birth chart. So Taurus represents our food. It represents family. It represents investments, savings, finance. Also because Mercury, a retrograde Mercury is involved. So Taurus represents our mouth, but Mercury represents our speech, or our communication. So both of them put together, they're involved. Definitely something we have to say is involved. So as you know, as a world, what can we expect? I think that food prices may be challenged, meaning they may go up because there may be food shortages in some parts of the world. Also communication issues, meaning media communications. I think there may be gossip, rumor, and spreading of, and the sun represents the government. So I think there could be secrets that, or gossip leaked out into the press about high officials, government officials. And somebody may say, a politician may come out and say something that they regret later, or the media blows it up and out of proportion. Now, as far as finance is concerned, I think the stock market may be still very volatile. It may still be on a downward trend, and a lot of people were worried about if there's going to be a correction in the market. There's going to be a very slight correction, I think, in the market because Rahu is still in Taurus. So I think the correction may only be 5 to 10% in the market, not a lot. So the volatility will still be there, but the trend might be downwards. Now, I don't want anybody to play the stock market based on my predictions, because I don't encourage that. Do what you want to do. I make general predictions. So this is my disclaimer. Since food is impacted, I would guide everybody to make sure you know what you're eating, eat well, eat healthy, because it's a time where we could possibly get sick due to what we eat if we're not eating well. The other thing is that I'm predicting maybe there's natural disasters relating to food, or you know, calamities, I should say, not natural disasters as much, but calamities related to food poisoning, or you know, especially in areas of every country that is the central and the southern parts, because that's represented by Taurus. We could see some accidents, natural disasters, or stuff related to food issues, meaning you know, contamination or poisoning sort of stuff, you know, incidents occurring. Also, communication is a factor. Remember, I said Taurus and retro Mercury are involved. Miscommunication is a very high possibility, so make sure you communicate well and you know what you're saying, because the chance of being miscommunicated, misunderstood is very high as well. Before I move on, just want to remind you, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel. And if you like the video, give it a like and share it with your friends and family. I also do astrology consultations. My email is on the screen. If you want to get a hold of me, please do send me an email and I'll be happy to respond back to you. Aries, this is eclipses in your second house. So the second house rules food, your communication, family, and wealth. So make sure you pay very good attention to what you eat. Take good care of your health, and don't really do anything with your finances. Make any changes for at least a month after the eclipse. If your Mars is well placed after that, you can do what you want to, but remember, your ascendant lord is Mars and it's debilitated right now, so you may feel a loss of energy, self-confidence may be a little low, but don't worry about it. In another month or so after the eclipse, I think things will be better for you. Make changes to your finance or other things related to wealth a little later. Don't jump and do anything hasty with your finance, but do take care of yourself and your health. Taurus, this is happening in your first house. The whole eclipse is happening in Taurus. So this is going to have a little bit of emotional, more emotional impact on you, less maybe physical. But you know, you've been thinking, and like I said in my lunar eclipse, you've been thinking a lot about making changes, because Rahu has been in Taurus for a very long time now. So you've been thinking about making changes. Rahu always makes a person want to think, to do different things, either relocate or think outside the box. That's what Rahu does. So you've been itching to do something different. It's okay to do it, but you just wait. Don't make any drastic changes for at least a month after the solar eclipse. After that, you can do whatever you are planning to do. Don't make any hasty changes, is what I'm saying. Also, watch your communication with, as I mentioned in my lunar eclipse, watch your communication with family members, especially your partners at this time, because it looks at the 7th house. So business partners, bosses, and your marital partners, or whoever is staying in your household. Gemini, this is happening in your 12th house. Now, just 2 weeks ago, your lunar eclipse was in your 6th house. So the 6-12 axis of a birth chart is not the best axis to have. So your health may be a little up and down. You may be emotionally 12th house, wants you to be a loner. It kind of wants you to go into solitude, not talk to anybody, and just kind of with your own thoughts. So try to get away from that. Try to socialize, come out of this loner mentality that you may be having, but take good care of your health. Now, the 6th house always wants you, it's a good idea to go and to have a good health or an exercise regimen, whether it's yoga or going to the gym or something. It helps you overcome the energy of the 6th and the 12th axis really well. One of the other things that the 12th house does is it makes you want to spend a lot of money, and don't fall into that temptation. If it really is, the one thing you can do is make donations, and it sometimes takes away the negative energy of the 12th house. And I've always said Mercury, because it's your ruler and it's retrograde right now, your communication, you really have to watch it. I've said it in my lunar eclipse, I'm saying it again now. Watch what you say to people, how you say. It may ruin relationships if you're not careful. Cancer. This eclipse is in your 11th house, but that's not all that's happening with Cancer. Remember, Mars has moved to Cancer and it's debilitated in there. So there's Mars acting up Cancer, and then Rahu and Saturn are in the nakshatras that are ruled by Cancer for several months now. So Cancer is having a little bit of a rough ride, meaning emotionally they're having a rough ride, because the moon, your ascendant lord is the moon, and it's just been so affected by Rahu and Saturn pulling it in both ways. So you may have felt for several months being pulled in different directions, and have an emotional unsettlement. You're unsettled emotionally. Now, otherwise, from a financial way, because the 11th house denotes gains, fulfillment of wishes, and and good things. So there may be good things happening around you, but emotionally you may be very down and depressed because of the moon being afflicted. Try to get over that. One of the best things to do right now is, because the 11th house denotes people like your network, your social network. It also denotes people who you consider like an older sister or older sibling, and your network, people, friends, close friends. Reach into them for a little emotional support. Reach into them and ask for emotional support when you need it. Leo, this eclipse is happening in your 10th house, and so the eclipse is because obviously Leo is ruled by the sun, and this is a solar eclipse, so your ascendant lord is getting eclipsed. So normally the sun and the moon always get involved in these eclipses. So around the eclipses, the Leo people always kind of have some sort of an emotional or a physical issue that occurs, either that happens to them, that they go through, because their ascendant lord gets impacted. Lunar and solar eclipses happen very close together within 2 weeks. So the eclipses usually have an impact on the Leo people, emotional and physical as well. So take good care of your health, and emotionally try not to get so down on yourself. I think the solar eclipse tends to bring you emotionally down. You may feel down. You may feel like you're burdened with work, and then you can't get your work done either. So that's what the solar eclipse might do to you. Don't let it get down. Keep one of the best things you can do to keep your spirits up, because of the sun and your soul, is to do a lot of mantra practice and meditate. transformation. If you can't work out, then that's a good remedy for you guys. Do that. Sit outside during the daytime. Take the energy of the sun after the eclipse. After the eclipse, it's a very good, Leos are very lucky that they're ruled by the sun and they see their ascendant lord every day. So this is the remedy, this is the magic remedy I'm giving out to you now, is you in the middle of the afternoon at 12 noon around, when it's at the high peak, go sit out outside and just do mantra practice for 10 minutes, 15 minutes or whatever, and meditate, and you get the energy from your ascendant lord, and it emotionally balances you so beautifully. So this is the magic remedy I'm giving out to Leo right now, and try that. Otherwise, you know, after the eclipse, for like a month after the eclipse, you're gonna feel really good. It helps you because your own ascendant lord comes out of the eclipse after a month. Virgo, this is eclipse is happening in your 9th house. The 9th house denotes your karma and your luck. And normally when a solar eclipse happens in the 9th house, your luck changes completely, or something karmic happens, you know, a karmic event happens and your karma changes completely. It could be career related or job related, where you completely have a change of, your life changes in a certain way after these the eclipse in the 9th house. 9th house also denotes long distance travels or any travels or education. So if you're a student and you have you know, Virgo ascendant, then it's really good for you guys because you know, it's gain of knowledge. The 9th house also represents gain of knowledge, so it's very good time for students, as long as you can emotionally keep the balance for the first few weeks after the solar eclipse. Also, like I said, it represents travel and long distance as well as short distance travel. So in the next few months you may feel like you're doing a lot of traveling, because that's what the solar eclipse, the karma that it changes, is probably going to do a long distance travel. If the pandemic allows it, you may start doing that as well. But after a month or so of the eclipse, you'll see that your career luck will change, because the 9th house is before the 10th house. So your karmic luck related to your profession might change a lot. So, but don't test your luck too far. Like, don't start gambling or anything to see if my luck changes. Don't test your luck. Let the karma and the guru. So the 9th house is the house of guru as well. Stay very close to your dharma and your guru, and you'll see how your karmic luck changes for the better. Libra, the eclipse is in your 8th house. The 8th house represents sudden events, changes, and the most important is transformation. You may want to be thinking about how to transform yourself. You may have realized, or you may realize, what it is about yourself that is very positive, and you want to transform yourself to bring out those positive traits and start exploring them and bringing them more into your life. It's a very good idea to start a very good exercise regimen or a health regimen, because your health is going to be a concern for you right now. Not only is your own health going to be a concern, but your spouse's health may be a concern for you at this time as well. So I encourage you to start a health regimen, take good care of your health, and start something positive in your life. This is a good time for career, and positive changes in your career and profession can be expected if you work hard. I've been saying that for a while. You may have a lot of worry about your finance at this time, but don't worry, it's just a temporary phase. Don't do anything drastic with your finance at this time. Don't make changes. Scorpio, the eclipse is in your 7th house. The 7th house represents business partners, life partners, and business in general. So it's good for business. It's very good for business right now, and you know, making money through business, that's very good for you. But I think because Ketu, or South Node, has been in your 1st house for a very long time, for many months you've had the feeling of you want to be a loner. You don't want to socialize. You don't want to talk to anybody. You just want to stay by yourself. That's not going to be a good thing for after the solar eclipse, because what it's going to do, because the solar eclipse being in your 7th house, it's going to damage relationships at a permanent basis. If you don't reach out to the people that matter to you in your life, and if you don't reach out and you don't take care of your emotional well-being, it may suffer during this time. So make sure you reach out to people. Surround yourself with people that care about you, love you, and this will take good care of your emotional health. Otherwise, you may be feeling very emotionally down. Remember, your ruler Mars is debilitated right now, so you need to take good care of your emotional health. Make sure you're emotionally balanced by staying close to people, close to loved ones. Sagittarius, the eclipse is in your 6th house. The 6th house represents health, loans, debts, and lawsuits, enemies, you know, things like that. So the lunar eclipse, if you watched my lunar eclipse video, was in your 12th house. So now you have a 6-12 axis activated, which is not a favorite of astrologers because it presents some challenges in different kinds. So I would suggest you take very good care of your health. Make sure you have a good health regimen as far as food you eat, as far as exercise is concerned. Exercise is very key because that's one of the significations of the 6th house. So if you exercise, you kind of take care of your health, and then it doesn't give you the bad energy of the 6th house. So that's key. If you're thinking of taking out loans or whatever, make sure you have the right amount. You don't overextend yourself. And also watch around what you say, how you are. Watch around yourself. Don't get into fights, arguments, discussions. You might find yourself in a lawsuit. So don't, make sure you're very cautious in your everyday dealings with people and whoever you deal with. Capricorn, the eclipse is in your 5th house. Now, Capricorn's had a tough run for the last few months, several months, because Saturn has been in Capricorn. And what Saturn makes you do is it makes you work hard or serve others. So a lot of Capricornians, I've been seeing it in my previous videos, have probably had a lot of people coming over where Saturn makes you serve them or take care of them. So guests or other people, you know, where Capricorn has been helping out people, serving them, taking care of guests, and so on and so forth. That's what Saturn makes you do. It's karmic planet, so it wants you to do your karma in serving others. It could be relatives, friends, or whoever. So what's been happening is Capricorn has gotten tired of it, and so there may have been issues in the home with fighting with our spouses or whatever, because you're just tired. Now that the eclipse is happening in your 5th house. The 5th house represents your children, love affairs, and education, and having fun. So there may be times where we feel that we're disconnected with our children. So make sure you take good care of the children's emotional needs, get back in touch with them, and have fun with them. Education, if there's students, Capricorn ascendants, I think they might be losing focus in their studies. So they need to focus back onto their studies. Otherwise, it might not be good. Also, people that have love affairs, I think as long as you make sure you treat your partner right, otherwise it could be not result in something very nice. You could actually have a breakup. With the solar eclipse does do that if you don't treat your partner right. Now, I don't mean married partners. That's the 7th house. The 5th house is love affair partners. One of the best remedies I can give you for Capricorn right now is, because the 5th house represents having fun, I think people should go out with their partner, love affairs, or your married partner. Go out and have fun. Go out for a night out, fun night, or whatever, and have fun. And that's activating the good part of your 5th house. That's a very good remedy. Aquarius, the eclipse is in your 4th house. The 4th house represents domestic happiness, happiness within the 4 walls of your house. It also represents real estate transactions, and it also represents purchase of luxurious items or luxury items in the house, or buying a car or something, big like that, big ticket items. So the Aquarians, for a very long time, because Rahu is sitting there, have had the feeling of wanderlust, like, I want to go away somewhere, I want to get out of here, and the general feeling of dissatisfaction within their household. And that's what Rahu makes you do, and now the solar eclipse will just heighten that feeling. So the best thing for you to do right now is to meditate. Find a quiet place in your house and meditate. If you can go away, then go away somewhere, but generally the solar eclipse heightens this feeling that Rahu brings about. So take care of your emotional well-being. Try to talk to your partner, do some spiritual meditation, mantra meditation, recitation is also good. Pisces, the eclipse is in your 3rd house. The 3rd house represents siblings, short distance travels, neighbors, confidence, your determination. You want to do something. So in the last few months, I think you're being a little overconfident, where you think, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm just going to do it. And so this overconfidence has come over you. Now, the solar eclipse, this is not the time to be overconfident or want to do anything new or start anything new. The confidence is good, but there's a time for it. So I think that you should wait for up to a month after the solar eclipse before you take on any of these new grand ideas and plans and projects. wait for a month, and then you think through things and then decide what you want to do and then do them. But try to maintain very good relationships with your siblings and your neighbors. Don't burn relationships because of your overconfidence and your over determination to do things. Watch the health of your father. I think he needs you and he needs your love. And with this, I come to the end of my video. Thank you very much for watching. Take very good care of your health, and I will see you on my next video.